Live back in action, attacking your speakers from the field to the bleachers. This is the Power 32 podcast with my main man, Mr. Primetime 313, David Dale in the house. I am the sports prophet, ready for another hour of power, NFL talk, debates, discussion, all that good stuff, everything going on around the league. Hey, if you like what you hear and you see today, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll get you back. That's how we do it. All right. If you like us, we'll like you. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. It's called reciprocation. So yeah,
Indeed.
hit that like, follow, subscribe, whatever you got to do. Yeah, it's the Power 32 podcast live each and every Tuesday night here on YouTube. Want to thank each and every one of you for joining us, however you are joining us. And we appreciate the love and the support. We've gotten some new people here last couple weeks or so. So as the channel grows, we're all kind of doing this together. We're all kind of growing together. So we appreciate all the support from everybody out there.
That's right. Growing like a big motherfucking tree, baby, in the middle of the forest. When it falls down, it makes a sound. Believe me, it definitely does. I don't want to hear any other shit. All right. You were actually usually asking me about the weather. How about you? What's going on up there?
Oh, man, it's cold. It's like 20 degrees. It was like 70 degrees last week, man. The wind up here is like, it's like one of your hurricanes down there, man. It's blowing stuff over. It blew like the canopy, the top part of the gas station. One of the gas stations not too far from here. The wind has just been crazy, man. The fact that it was 70 degrees last week and it's been like in the 20s or so the last couple of days, it's a little chilly up here, man. It's a little chilly.
That's crazy shit, man. Sorry to hear that.
No, you're not.
We got our little chilly Florida thing going on over here, like 55, 60 degrees, but I'm cool. I'm digging it.
Get out of here with your 55 degrees.
Hey, we got a great freaking show today. We got free agency. We got trades. We got a big one that came down. Jalen Waddle over to the Broncos. I think that's a huge trade. We'll talk about that, a whole bunch more. But, of course, we got to start with NFL trivia. Are you ready, Prime?
I don't know, man. It's been a rough 3 weeks. I've lost 3 weeks in a row. So, let's see what I can do here. Falling off the wagon a little bit.
See if everybody in the chat can get in on this one as well. But all right, here we go. Who were the 2023 offensive and defensive rookie of the year? The hint is they were on the same team. 2023 offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year on the same team. We're not going back too far.
Oh, wow. Man, I need to brush up on some of this stuff. And it's like the easier ones are the harder ones. It's funny how that works.
Yeah.
2023 offensive. And there's some of the shit you just don't pay attention to sometimes. It's like,
I know.
I don't man, I can't. I don't know.
You're gonna kick yourself when you hear it. I know that you know.
Yeah, as soon as you say the team, I'll probably. Yeah, I'm stumped on this one. This one, I don't even have a guess on this one. This is crazy.
It was the Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson Jr. I know you knew that one.
That'd have been like my second guess. I sometimes forget that C.J. Stroud has only been in, he just got drafted in 2023. And it seems like he's been in the league a little bit longer. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
it's like the easier the question, the more I get stumped. Hey, that was a good one.
Yeah, you do better on the hard questions.
Right.
I love it. It's a beautiful thing. All right, well, we tried for that one. Next week, another round of NFL trivia to be on the Power 32 podcast. You know it. But we got a lot to talk about today. A lot of stuff has happened since we were on air last Tuesday. And one of the big ones is Travis Etienne's name is not pronounced Travis Etienne. I don't know if you heard this, but he did an interview.
Yeah.
All right.
I saw that.
His name is pronounced Travis A-Chain. What the fuck is going on? Why can't he correct his people? It's not that hard to pronounce.
No, especially
in the NFL.
That's all I was going to say, especially when there's already somebody in the league with that name. It's just spelled totally. I mean, they couldn't be spelled any more different unless one of them had a Z in it. But yeah, it's funny how that some people just, I don't know, and give props to the guy for not always going around correcting people. But it's like, okay, it's not like I'm somebody that just dropped on the face of the earth. We've known the A Chain, Travis and his brother, for years now. So you think somebody would have corrected it or got it right along the way. But big props to him for kind of riding along, just with the bad pronunciation and everything. So I cracked up when I heard that, though. I thought of you instantly.
I couldn't believe it. I wonder if the announcers are going to start correcting themselves. We'll see, but they should.
Probably not.
A name that we know, Kyler Murray. We talked about it. We said he was probably going to Minnesota. He is going to the Vikings for next to nothing. They're trying to catch lightning in a bottle. Is this a big move where it's a really tough division with Green Bay, Jordan Love, Jared Goff and the Lions, and then you got Caleb Williams and the Bears. So you got good quarterback play, good all-around football. It's a tough division. Mm-hmm. But can Kyler Murray kind of have his resurgence like, with Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield or whatever like that, Geno Smith, insert name here. Can Kyler Murray, with that team who is stacked and last year won 9 games prime, with no quarterback play whatsoever. You're bringing Kyler Murray, who is, he's not my favorite, but he can make plays. What do you think about him? He's not my favorite guy in the world, but he's a hell of an athlete. He's a good quarterback. He's got a really good arm. What do you think this does for Minnesota?
Here's what bothers me, and I was going to save one of these for a big deal or no deal, but I'm gonna say this right now. If I'm the Detroit Lions and if I'm a Detroit Lions fan, which I am, I'm kind of upset right now because now that move probably puts you at like the 7th best team in the conference if you're being subjective. So you got the Rams, Niners, and Seahawks, which are all better than you. The Eagles are better than you. The Bears are better than you. And you could subjectively say that the Packers and the Vikings are better than you because the Vikings beat you twice last year, like you say, with minimal to no quarterback play at all. So if the trend goes the way that it's supposed to, the Minnesota Vikings with Kyler Murray at quarterback, and we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now, I think that puts them at minimum potentially better than the Packers. So this could keep the Lions potentially, I keep using that word, this could keep the Lions in the basement of the NFC North, considering the fact that they've done little to nothing this offseason to improve that roster. And I'm not sure what's going on with what the Lions are and aren't doing, but this move is big for Minnesota, especially the fact that it's only going to cost them a couple $1 million because the Cardinals are eating the majority of Kyler Murray's salary. Right. So we all know what he can do. He's a little guy. He's mobile. He's got a big arm. He's accurate. And contrary to what a lot of people may think, he's a really good teammate because he was voted captain 5 years in a row, by his teammates. So this is a big move for Minnesota. This gives them an opportunity to get right back in the thick of things after a down year last year. The Kevin O'Connell offense is something that we talk about on this show all the time, how good of a coach we think he is. So if I'm Kyler Murray, I'm looking very much forward to it. We saw a couple of press clippings as the week went on after the move was made. He's looking very much forward to it. And I know him and Justin Jefferson, that could be a pretty lethal combination. They're bringing TJ Hawkinson back after they were going to release him. And they're going to redo Aaron Jones' contract, so they're going to bring him back. So they got all their weapons in place. That defense is as solid as it gets. And if you're a Minnesota fan, there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic going into this season.
Yeah, they re-signed Eric Wilson, Tavia Thomas, Andrew DePaula. So all these guys coming back. Brian Flores as the defensive coordinator. I think that Minnesota's got a really good chance to jump up and maybe even win that division. Chicago's a really good team, but they had a little downfall, with Drew Dolman at center. So we'll see what happens with that. No more DJ Moore. They're going to rely more on the young guys in Rome Odunze and, of course,
your boy
Luther Burden. Yeah, my boy Luther Burden. So we'll see what happens to that. But I am interested to see. That's going to be a tough division next year. We got big news today. Jalen Waddle heading to the Denver Broncos for a first, and I believe it was a fourth.
First,
and then
a third, and a fourth.
A first, a third, and a fourth.
Yeah.
That's right. A first, third, and fourth. I mean, that's a lot.
That's a lot for Jalen Waddle.
That's Are you kidding me? That's an awful lot, man. I can't listen. He's a really good wide receiver. I like him a lot, but for that, I mean, damn, man, come on. That they gave up a lot for Jalen Waddle.
They did, and now if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, that kind of sets the bar for what you're going to be expecting for AJ Brown.
Right.
Going into the rest of the offseason and beyond. So
because by all means, he's a better wide receiver, AJ Brown, than Jalen
exactly.
Waddle, so you would expect that he would get more.
So I mean, you may be talking like a first and 2 seconds or something like that for AJ Brown, which I think to me would be the Jalen Waddle thing was ridiculous. So now that kind of, in my opinion, anything like that you get from, for AJ Brown, like it could be a first and 2 seconds or first, second, and third or whatever. I think it's a little bit much, but you're worth as much as people are willing to pay you and pay for you. So now though, this might put the Eagles in a situation where they won't be able to trade AJ Brown simply because the asking price is going to be too much based on what we just saw Waddle get with his $27 million salary to go along with it. So
right, and there's a big thing.
Denver.
If they trade him after June 1st, it would be less money. I don't know, how that whole football thing works, but got a little question over here from Steve is real. Yeah,
he's a newbie. Second week in a row. Welcome, Steve. How you doing?
What's up, man? Who's getting Josh Sweat? Packers, your Lions, 49ers is getting Josh Sweat. I'll take him. I'm one of them pass rusher.
Yeah, we'll get into some of the Giant stuff in a little bit because they're making some moves too. But yeah, I haven't heard anything about So, and that's going to beef up their deep. So you get Josh Sweat on one side, Micah Parsons on another side. It's going to be a pretty formidable duo there, as the Packers look to kind of bounce back from what started off as a promising season and ended kind of disappointing. But getting back to the Broncos real quick. I had Cortland Sutton on my fantasy team last year, so I followed the Broncos a little bit more than the average person. And this move to me, you give Bo Nix a playmaker, somebody with some speed like that, open up the middle of the field. Cortland Sutton can go out there and do his thing, along with your boy Franklin, in the running game, RJ Harvey, so now, Denver really didn't need a whole lot profit going into this offseason. I don't know if you agree or not, but this type of move, this is like I won't say a championship move, but this is the type of move that good teams make to better themselves. And, I'm looking forward to how that's going to work out with my boy Bo and the Broncos going into next season.
Yeah, we know how much you love your Oregon quarterbacks, and they were right there. If Bo Nix was playing in that AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots, more than likely they would have won. They were home. They had the better team, tough defense. Now they just got better on offense. So really looking forward to it. And Steve is saying that the Cardinals are waiting to get rid of Josh Sweat. Yeah, they might as well clean house, much like the Miami Dolphins are doing, Micah Fitzpatrick, all these guys. I'm surprised they haven't got rid of Devon A-Chain yet. A-Chain, there's that name again. Unbelievable. But, I think this is a huge move for Denver. This puts them right in the front row of first seed, second seed, winning the AFC West. This is a huge move for them, no doubt. Jalen Waddle is an excellent player, but I cannot believe how much they gave up. And it's clear that the Miami Dolphins are playing for not even 2027, more like 2028. Getting these draft picks and having a new regime come in there with Jeff Hafley. So Miami fans, you're going to have to wait a long time. I know you've been waiting a long time already for a playoff win. You're going to have to wait even longer. I'm sorry. That kind of sucks. All right. The whole Max Crosby thing fell apart. What a freaking mess. And that happened right after we were on air last week.
That's crazy.
Breaking news. I know. Unbelievable.
4 minutes after we went off the air last week.
Right. 5 minutes. Not even 2 minutes, probably. Unbelievable. So couldn't even get it in. But he ends up not going there. He's staying with the Raiders. for now. And instead, the Ravens go with Trey Hendrickson, and they keep their draft picks, which is huge right there. I wonder if that was their plan all along, saying, you know what, if we can get Trey Hendrickson, keep our draft picks, then why go after Max Crosby? Even though I believe that Max Crosby is a better player, tackle for losses, sacks, they're right there. Hendrickson maybe a little bit more, but I think that Max Crosby is a great player. And I believe that he's got a good chance of staying with the Raiders, even though, Prime, they kind of booted him out already and said, we're trading you. So it's going to be kind of hard to keep him if he wants to stay there.
Yeah, and I think Max Crosby's the kind of guy, too, that he's also probably, it's one of those things that's like no hard feelings, and he looks at it as a business. As Steve says that the whole Max Crosby deal was a farce. I kind of agree with that, but just the way I think the Ravens, more a farce, for the way that the Ravens did. You kind of knew going in that he was having issues with his knee, and then you wait for him to actually fail the physical, which you have the right to do. You have that right. So there was nothing officially signed yet.
But then why bother doing it anyway? I mean, if you know that he's all banged up, then if that's your plan, why put up a facade like that? I don't understand.
I think some of that, right, and yeah, to your point, I think they were waiting. It was like a waiting game, and once they knew for sure that Trey Hendrickson was 100% going to be available, they kind of pivoted a little bit. But to your point as well, they get to keep their draft picks, which I think is the biggest thing here. And you get an all-pro defensive edge rusher who is not, you talk about even Stevens, so to speak. You really, it's not that's kind of an apples to apples win and loss for them. You lose Max Crosby, but you gain Trey Hendrickson. Right. To add to that defense, all the stuff, everything that we talked about, the advantages of the Baltimore defense with Max Crosby, you can kind of copy and paste that and apply that to, Trey Hendrickson. So I think, though, if you're the Raiders, you added Kwity Paye and all these other players over to Nakobe Dean and all these guys, and now you bring in Max Crosby. So it's almost like you're adding like a free agent to a defense that you already added some depth and some Pro Bowl type players to. So if I'm the Raiders, I'm not really going to hang my head too much, but it'll be, like you said, it'll be interesting to see the dynamic with Max Crosby and see, how kind of Tom Brady and that ownership group kind of like, look, man, this is what it is. It was all business, but, let's see what we can do moving forward.
And you expect them to get better on offense with Clint Kubiak. They got Ashton Jeanty, who started coming on more toward the end of the season. You got your Brock Bowers. Maybe they make another move. Fernando Mendoza coming in, give him a little bit of time, but you probably would start him right away. But that's another story for another day. But staying in the division, I love Trey Hendrickson to the Ravens. They needed a pass rusher. Way to go. He got paid 4 years, $112 million. So congratulations on that. You were waiting for that big payday. You got it. But staying in that division, I love the moves the Steelers have made. I love the moves that they've made, but I don't know who's playing quarterback. Should Rodgers return to Pittsburgh? Because I love the moves. Rico Dowdle signs with the Steelers. Michael Pittman goes over there. Jamel Dean goes over there. They bring back Cameron Hayward. So they've made a lot of really good moves and keeping certain guys, bringing guys in. But the problem is who plays quarterback? And the quarterback market is getting really thin right now. So is Aaron Rodgers the answer?
I mean, you really don't have much of a choice, right? And I think Pittsburgh waited too long. Because when you look at the quarterback market, like you say, you're going to go with Kirk Cousins. You got Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson, Tyrod Taylor, and then you get into your Carson Wentz's and guys like that, and then your favorite quarterback of all time for the fifth week in a row. We're going to mention Jimmy Garoppolo, but I don't even know if he catches on with anybody this year. But top three, Russell Wilson's not going to come back. Kirk Cousins, you're probably not going to want to pay whatever salary unless you can convince, Atlanta to do whatever. Actually, he's already released, so you really can't do anything. So I don't know. Do you draft a quarterback? But even if you draft a quarterback, you're not picking high enough to get anybody that's really good. So you're kind of stuck where you're at right now, and Aaron Rodgers might be your only option. When you look at the available free agent quarterbacks, you're going to trade for somebody who's going to give you, who's going to give you a good quarterback right now.
Yeah.
Nobody.
It's tough. No doubt.
Nobody.
No doubt.
Unless I feel bad for Steelers fans.
A Mac Jones or something like that. I'm not saying he's definitely the answer, but Aaron Rodgers got him to the playoffs last year, 10-7. May not be a bad idea. I don't know. But I like what the Steelers are doing. No doubt about it. Your boy, Daniel Jones, signs a 2-year, $88 million contract to remain in Indy. Makes me scratch my head a little bit, the transition tag. They were paying him $37, and they're like, "Oh, screw it, we'll give you a contract." So now he's making $44 million a year. God bless him. Daniel Jones becoming the next Kirk Cousins, man. It's unbelievable with this contract.
Say what you want, but he's made a couple $100 million over the last few years. So he is actually following that Kirk Cousins plan. It's like, you know what? Sometimes it might not be about winning rings. It's about getting things, and that thing is the bag at the end of the day. He wanted to be a $50 million quarterback. $44 million to get him close enough. I think the Colts were willing to do this because the Colts know right now that you mentioned the phrase earlier, lightning in a bottle. I think they know that they potentially have something special, even though that conference is very, very tough, despite what a lot of people want to say. They're going to see what they got. And they figure, $44 million is below market value when you look at what quarterbacks are getting right now. So if I'm the Colts, it's a good move for me. It's a 2-year thing. And if it doesn't work out, we just move on in a couple of years without having to do like a long-term commitment of a 4 or 5 million year or 4 or 5 year deal. And then now you're locked into something should this thing go south. No problem.
Right. Well, let's see if he'll be ready for next season. That's a big thing. And they've already given Anthony Richardson permission to trade. Ryder Leonard. We'll see.
Cry my eyes out for that one.
Justin Fields, nothing really to talk about. Headed to Kansas City, to back up Patrick Mahomes. Probably not going to be ready for the first couple of games of the year. So you're bringing Fields. Again, lightning in a bottle. Try to catch that. But a move I like for the Commanders, Rachaad White going to the Commanders. He's a really good player. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a good runner. And I think that Jaden Daniels needs that and needs that play action ability to get wide receivers open, which they really don't have many.
No, and I think that, we've talked about this before. One of the things that Washington needed to do was to beef up their playmakers. Deebo Samuel's gone. Terry McLaurin seems like he's getting hurt a little bit more and more. So you need somebody out there to to give Jaden Daniels at least an opportunity to kind of bounce back and get to where he was his rookie season. Last year was kind of a wash. You called that they weren't going to be as good as they were in his rookie year. But all things being equal, it was a good move for them. There's still a couple of other, other free agent wide receivers that they could potentially take a look at.
Yeah, Jawan Jennings, Steph Diggs is out there. They could bring back Deebo if they wanted to. There's.
Do you think they would do that though? They got, and then DeAndre Hopkins is still out there. Tyreek, I think Tyreek is, for all intents and purposes, I'm not going to say washed up and done, but considering the seriousness of the injuries that he had and his thing is speed, I think you take that away from him and I think he becomes a mortal man. But, and then we saw Jahan Dotson just signed with the Falcons. So that kind of takes that option away. But yeah, Stephon Diggs, Jawan Jennings, DeAndre Hopkins, you got guys, Josh Reynolds. There's a little
DeAndre's
bit.
washed up, man. DeAndre Hopkins, he's done. He has been good for a couple of years now, man. He really hasn't been moving around the league, whether it was Kansas City, then to Baltimore, but he's not making plays. He's not. Maybe one or two here and there.
Well, then too, Washington's still like, $60-70 million under the cap. As far as cap space. So they got an opportunity to go out and sign. I don't know if they would trade. I don't know if could you see a potential, Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders trade? Highly unlikely. But with the money, they got money to burn. And, there's some really good wide receivers in the draft. So I think they'll take their chances with what they got now. Wait for the draft. Go ahead and probably draft a receiver or two and see if they can get back to where they were 2 years ago.
Carnell Tate, he's out there. They can even go with the tight end route. Kenyon Sadiq, he's a really good player.
Where's he from?
Kenyon Sadiq?
Yep, say it. Say it.
Oh, your boy,
say
Kenyon Sadiq.
Say it. He's from Oregon. The O.
Yeah, he is.
I gotta get me like an Oregon helmet or something, or some just bright. I don't know why. I don't know what it is with them. But yeah, Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson, Denzel Boston from Washington.
You bleed all the colors that they wear, and they wear a lot of them.
Yeah, Kevin Concepcion is going to be a sneaky one in the draft. The little fella from Texas A&M. There's some good receivers in this draft, man. Malachi Fields, keep an eye on him too from Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I'm nerding out right now. Sorry.
No doubt. I've been starting to work on my mock draft a little bit. It's going to change probably like 10 times, but much like my March Madness bracket, we'll talk about that.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man. Okonkwo staying with the Titans on a 3-year, $30 million contract. The Patriots pick up Kevin Byard on a 1-year, $9 million deal. Javon Hargrave going to play in Green Bay. Again, that's another move that you got to make. You got to make defensive line moves. So I think that Green Bay is really trying to work on their defense, more paying attention to that than the offense. They gave up Romeo Doubs. You got to see if your tight ends are going to come back next year, and Luke Musgrave, and who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Musgrave and
Tucker Kraft.
Thank you. You're the man.
Kraft.
You're the best.
I like him. He actually came out. He actually came out to be like one of the top 4 or 5 guys, tight end wise last year. So he actually he came on strong. Speaking of teams though that are, we talk about the Raiders and their moves, talk about the Steelers and their moves. I would be remiss if I did not mention what those New York Football Giants got going on right now. So they went out. They got Darnell Mooney. They went out and got Greg Newsome. They went out and got Isaiah Likely. They went out and got a solid brand new kicking core, punter and kicker, Pro Bowlers. But how's this for a linebacking core going into next year? Just Brian Burns, Tremaine Edmonds, and Kayvon Thibodeau are going to be your starting linebackers for the New York Giants next year.
Not bad.
And then you still got Abdul Carter, and you got my boy, Dexter Lawrence. Yeah. So the Giants are on to something. And now they're probably going to draft a receiver later in the draft. It's looking, this is John Harbaugh doing Harbaugh things, and this is why we were so excited that he came to the Giants, because we knew it was going to be an entire culture shift from what we've been used to the last few years. And I'm really, really looking forward to the start of the season with Cam Scatterbo, Jackson Dart and company. Right now, if you go look at the Giants roster, their current roster, they have 14 wide receivers on their current roster right now.
That's amazing.
That is absolutely insane. 14 receivers on their current roster right now. They got like 6 running backs, Moody, 9 guards. They got like just players
Calvin
for days.
Austin the third.
Yeah, they just picked him up too.
Hey, Patrick Ricard, not a bad pickup right there.
That's going to be a sneaky one, I'm hoping. But yeah, Calvin Austin, Malik Neighbors. We're still waiting for Jalen Wyatt. And remember, 4 years ago, Darius Slayton was the apple of everybody's eye in New York, and he's still there. So there's some potential for the Giants to really be good offensively, and we already know their defense is going to be good. But going into
no more Wan'Dale Robinson.
Oh God. Oh, however will we survive without Wan'Dale? But you know what, Wan'Dale? Go get your bag, man. If Tennessee wants to pay you all that money, more power to you, dude. I'm not mad at it at all.
$20 million a year or 19
for Wan'Dale Robinson,
whatever. Unbelievable. Wow, I didn't see that coming. That's for sure. Damn, unbelievable. All right. Edge Odafe Owe, 4-year, $100 million deal. Bradley Chubb is going to the Bills. Dre Greenlaw head back to the 49ers, and they got Christian Kirk, and they got Mike Evans. You think that the 49ers are a contender? Are they?
Well, hell, they were last year with the receiving core, which you didn't even know who was going to be starting from week to week. I'm just joking. But
Yep. No, it's true. Backup
Mike Evans,
quarterback.
Christian Kirk, Brock Purdy. But again, we said this probably around this time last year. It all revolves around CMC. And we hope, if you're a 49ers fan, you hope that George Kittle comes back healthy, wealthy, and wise. Yeah. And yeah, that puts the 49ers in a really good position. And they have to be, because that division, we know the Rams are going all in. Seattle's just coming off of a Super Bowl. And now the 49ers got to be looking like, well, damn, where's our NFC championship or our Super Bowl appearance or whatever? And this is why I keep saying, I think there's a lot of pressure going on, going towards Kyle Shanahan these next year or maybe two, before people start rumbling about him, about hot seat.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I know.
The boy's got to get it done, Prophet. He's got to get it done.
He's got to get it
done.
Got to get it done. No more Robert Saleh. That's killer. But they do bring in D tackle Osa Odighizuwe. I like that move a lot. They bring back Dre Greenlaw. I like that a lot. Eddie Pinheiro, our kicker, did a really good job. So they're making moves. They're trying to remain contenders, if that is possible, in that division. Really tough. But yeah, doing a really good job. Very happy about what's going on. We mentioned Romeo Doubs before. He is going to the defending AFC champion New England Patriots. Is that enough for the Patriots to say, all right, we got our guy? Or is Steph Diggs more like, all right, we're kind of like the same wide receiver, no big deal? Or do they still have to make some moves?
I think they still got to make a move or two in their wide receiver core. Romeo Doubs is a good number two. By no stretch of the imagination does anybody think that he's a number one wide receiver at all.
No, he's not.
But the problem is, we just talked about the free agent market is very thin at wide receiver. The draft is very deep at wide receiver. And, the good thing for the Patriots is that they still got a little bit of money under the cap.
Go get A.J. Brown.
That's been the talk the last week or so. But the problem is, it's kind of like a balancing act. Okay, how close do you think you are? Which AFC Championship tells you pretty close. But, to where you're willing to give up maybe a first and a second. Are you in a position right now that you can give up a first and a second for a receiver? And on the flip side of that, is that receiver going to be the guy that puts you over the top? That there's a lot that New England's got to think about if they decided to make that move. I would do it right now. I mean, you're coming off an AFC Championship. I don't know, a first round pick. You're picking next to last anyway. And depending on what you think you need, they'll probably be that same guy there in the second round. So if I'm the Patriots, I make that move, because Romeo Doubs is absolutely not the answer, for them. It's not like a game-breaking type guy. You basically just picked up the same guy that you just let go. He's just a little younger.
If you're the Patriots, would you rather go after Max Crosby or A.J. Brown?
Ooh. Oh, man. Shit, that's like a trivia question you just stumped me with. That is a good question. That is a really good question. I would like to know what the chat and the viewers think about that one. I personally, though, what was my shortcoming last year? It really wasn't your defense. The defense was solid. Defense was really good. Yeah. I would probably go A.J. Brown. If you want to keep this thing going and you don't have the drop-off that we saw, with C.J. Stroud dropping off, Jaden Daniels dropping off. Drake May is now on the climb, on the ascension. You want to keep that going. And if you can get him a guy like A.J. Brown, a happy A.J. Brown, that would work wonders for what New England's trying to do going forward. I would take
A.J.
over Max.
I trust Mike Vrabel and the defense. Josh McDaniels would do wonders with A.J. Brown. No doubt about it. So I think that would be a really good move right there. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. Kobe Durant going to the Rams. I'm sorry, from the Rams to the Cowboys. I apologize about that. Jalen Johnson from Arizona joining the Cowboys over there. Tariq Woolen signs a one-year deal to play in Philly. They lost Reed Blankenship. They had a couple of problems on the back end other than Quinion Mitchell. So is Tariq Williams, do you think that he's a good enough player to help out that back end in Philly?
I don't know. The thing with Philly, though, is it seems like no matter who they put back there, they're not, Reed Blankenship is, kind of a locker room guy, so it may be a little bit difficult to, to replace that part of it. But physically, from a talent standpoint, some people would say that might be a minor upgrade. But I don't know. It just seems like Philly, no matter what they do, no matter who they put and where they put them, they always seem to excel. So it's something about putting on that green jersey, man. As we sit here on St. Patrick's Day, There's something about putting on that jersey. When you're a Philadelphia Eagle, there's like some superpower that kind of just turns you in, takes ordinary guys that may be a little bit above average, you may not have heard of, you may not think the world of, and then all of a sudden they go to the Eagles, and now they're household names all of a sudden. So I think Philly is definitely going to try to shore up the secondary in the draft. I forgot what they picked, but Avion Terrell was a guy that he went to Clemson. He's a guy that they kind of been linked with. Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee. There's some guys that they can get. Brandon Sisk from out of South Carolina. So there's some guys that they can get in the back half of that defense if they want to get a little bit more depth. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it's a good move. But it's like I said, it's not a world beater. It's just kind of a replacement for the guy that just got away.
Right, true. No doubt. All right, couple more moves. Tutu Atwell signed a 1-year deal with Miami. I don't really know why, but okay. I guess he needed body at wide receiver.
What the hell, man? I don't know.
Hollywood Brown going to the Eagles. So
I saw that.
Is that a sign that A.J. Brown is on his way out? Maybe so, but I mean, Hollywood Brown is not anywhere near as good as A.J. Brown. But if they do more moves, but they got rid of Jahan Dotson also.
Yeah, that like I say earlier, man. He went to the Falcons. I don't know, Jay. I don't know, man. I don't know. First of all, you asked if it's a sign. It could be. Maybe they have something in the works. Maybe there's somebody that's going to give Philadelphia a package, an offer that they can't refuse, especially now, like we mentioned earlier, that the bar being set so high with what Waddle, got for him, what the Broncos got for Waddle, or I'm sorry, what Miami got for Waddle. It's very, I don't know, when you talk about receiver, because to me, receivers come a dime a dozen. Yeah, there's some really good ones, but I just need a few guys that are going to go out there and catch the ball. I don't need T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I don't need two $40 million guys. I don't need guys that are going to complain all the time. And for all the complaints that A.J. Brown has had, he still had, 4 out of the last 5 years, over 1,000 yards?
Yeah.
So he's getting the ball, but I don't know. That was an interesting move when I saw that. And I thought of you when I saw that, like, wonder what Prophet's going to say about that one, because are you getting rid of, bringing in one Brown to get rid of another one? But maybe that New England thing is actually in the works. We don't know.
It's very possible. I don't know. I guess A.J. Brown's going to have to read a book or something to make his decision. I don't know. Whatever he's going to do. Goodness gracious.
You know.
All right. We did A.J. Brown, Max Crosby. I'm curious, in your mind, given the conferences and the NFC a little tough, that division, the NFC West a little tough, who's got a better chance of going back to the Super Bowl? Would it be the Patriots or the Seahawks?
Patriots. I'd say the Patriots right now. I'd say simply because you don't know, really honestly, you don't know what you're going to get with a Sean McDermott-less Buffalo Bills. You know what Josh Allen's going to give you. You know what Lamar Jackson's going to give you. But overall, just from a philosophical standpoint, you don't really know what you're going to get with those two teams. They'll be right there in contention. Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes coming off an injury. Daniel Jones for the Colts coming off an injury. So, that leaves the Denver Broncos, and, they just got a shiny new toy. So, if any, and I look at what the Rams have done, I look at what the rest of, a couple other teams in the NFC have done. Especially with Kyler and the Vikings. The Bears continue to make moves. They haven't stopped making moves since preseason or off-season last year.
Yeah,
so
they're all in.
I would give, and Seattle just lost the Super Bowl MVP, and they lost one of their best defensive backs in Kobe Bryant. So I would say of the two, I'd probably say the Patriots got the better shot at going back to the Super Bowl.
I like that. Good breakdown. I like that right there. I like that. Good job. Good job. All right.
Well, thank you.
A couple of more before we get to big deal or no deal. Do you think the Jets should take Ty Simpson from Alabama with their second pick in the first round, which would be the 16th overall? Do you think he's good enough?
Right now, one of the big names that are rising up the ranks as far as quarterbacks is Cole Payton out of I think North Dakota or South Dakota State. He's another, in the mold of the Trey Lance, the Carson Wentz, Josh Allen, these guys that went to these off-brand schools that are all of a sudden, becoming household names. There's really, Garrett Nussmeier going into the last season was going to be going into the start of this past season was supposed to be like the number one quarterback, and then he kind of tailed off. He got hurt, didn't really live up to expectations. Then you had Carson Beck, who led Miami to a really good season, but he was supposed to be the number one guy before Mendoza mania hit. Cole Payton is actually out of North Dakota State, so I don't know, man. Do you go defense? Do you go David Bailey out of Texas A&M? A guy who's a sack machine, kind of improve your pass rush. I think their offense, Jay, is so bad that I don't even know if you put a quarterback back there, you're going to have to draft. You're going to have to devote your entire draft to offense because it was just so bad. And there's a couple quarterbacks out there that fit the mold, but I don't know. That would be a Jets thing because right now a lot of people are predicting Ty Simpson, even though he might be the number 2 quarterback. There's people out there predicting that he may not be like a first rounder. So Fernando Mendoza could end up being the only quarterback picked in the first round.
Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, you just wait. I think you take the best player available, so to speak, and then bank on the fact that Ty Simpson or Drew Aller or Carson Beck or one of those guys going to be in there in the second round.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, Jets have the second pick overall as well, and Arvell Reese or David Bailey, an edge guy, they can definitely use that. They lost Jermaine Johnson this year, so no doubt.
And they got $40 million under the cap, so they're not broke either. So they can
no, they could spend money.
But there's not enough free agents left. Prophet, I don't know if you agree. There's not enough quality free agents left at the positions that they need. Agreed. In order for that to make a difference. The Jets are in like a total rebuild offensively right now.
Yeah, they are in rebuild mode. It's going to take a couple of years for them. Will Aaron Glenn be there? Probably not, but it's going to take some time for them. No doubt about it. All right. We got some more likely to win the division, but before that, I want to do big deal, no deal.
Yeah, big deal or no deal, sponsored by the Power 32 podcast. This is the segment of the show where I pose some scenarios to the Prophet and he tells us whether it is a big deal or no deal. We're going to start off with the Miami Dolphins. We kind of been talking about them a little bit during the show. They are currently $177 million in dead money. That's a record. They're paying Bradley Chubb. They're paying Tyreek Hill. They're paying Jalen Waddle. They're paying like 5 or 6 Jalen Ramsey. They're paying like 6 or 7 guys that aren't even on the team anymore. So half of their cap is already, they're like, I think right now they're like $18 million, $8 to $18 million, depending on what source you use, over the cap. So we talk about rebuilds. Is this to be that hamstrung over the cap with players that don't even play for your team? I'm going to ask the obvious. Is that a big deal or no deal?
Yeah, man, it's obviously a big deal. It really is. I mean, they don't have anything going on over there. They're getting rid of everybody, all their good players. They got Devon Achane left, and that's pretty much it. Got rid of their quarterback, their best safety. I mean, their best wide receiver. Keeps going on and on and on. Bradley Chubb is gone, like you mentioned. So Miami, it's a big deal because they are so far behind the 8 ball right now. It's not even funny. They have nothing going on. They're going to have to really rebuild through the draft and free agency, but they're going to have to make the right moves. They brought in a whole new regime over here, and that was the deal. Clean house, figure it out, redo it, rebuild it. So it is a big deal. At the same time, in a weird way, it's not a big deal because nobody's expecting anything out of the Miami Dolphins right now. We expect them to get their shit together in the next couple, 3 years with all these draft picks, so on and so forth. But Malik Willis is left in a shitty spot right now. I feel bad for him. What is he going to do? Give the ball to Devon Achane 40 times a game? I mean, he's got nobody to throw the ball to.
Right.
Nobody.
And that's kind of where I was when I thought of this question. I kind of was thinking along that lines because you go through the trouble of bringing in Malik Willis, who's the hottest free agent quarterback out there, and then you give up all your offensive weapons outside of Achane. You know, no Waddle, no Tyreek Hill. You kind of gut the entire team. So this makes me think that Malik Willis is just like this whole team, everybody that's on this roster, these are basically all transitional players that, you know, won't be there in a couple of years when if Miami ever gets into position where they start to contend. So yeah, I agree with you 100% on that, man. It's Malik Willis. I feel bad, but you know what? He'll cry on his money bags.
Yeah,
he'll I'm sure
45 guaranteed. Yeah.
He'll be just fine. He'll be
all right.
So
life changed for him in a good way.
Exactly. So next one, this is a big one to me. We know Patrick Mahomes may not start the season, which in all likelihood he won't. So they'll probably go in with Gardner Minshew and Justin Fields.
Right.
In your opinion, how many games, is it a big deal or no deal, the amount of games that Patrick Mahomes will be able to miss before they, you know, decide that, yeah, the season's probably already gotten away from us? So I guess what I'm asking is, what's the bogey? How many games can he afford to miss? And I don't know what their record is in those games, but how many games can they be without Patrick Mahomes before it becomes a big deal or no deal, whether or not they should start thinking about 2027?
I'm telling you, man, I'm not rushing him back. I would wait as long as possible because the Chiefs are not the Chiefs. I mean, they're picking 9th overall for a reason. They let guys go. They let their entire secondary go. They're not doing a good job. Again, Hollywood Brown is gone. They don't have the players, and we don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to be ready. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about this season so much. I would think, you know what, in the next couple of years, we're going to get more draft picks. You know, well, Travis Kelce's going to be gone. They're going to replace him. They're going to get new players come in. They're a smart organization. But the fact that Kansas City is in this position right now, and Patrick Mahomes is probably not going to come back for maybe a good 4 to 6 games. In that spot, I don't trust Gardner Minshew and I don't trust Justin Fields to get 4 wins. Not going to happen. It's going to be more like 1-5 or 2-4. Wow. And then Mahomes coming back, you have to hope he's really healthy. And again, they don't have a really great team around him like they did the past, 4, 5, 6 years. So it's a different team now. So I don't trust the fact that Mahomes can come back and make this team a playoff contender again.
And I agree, but I'll also ask you this question. You know, Patrick Mahomes is going to be over there chomping at the bit to get back, even though the organization might not want to rush him back. There's no way a competitive guy like that, if he feels that he's healthy and he knows that his team needs him, even if they are, let's say, 2-4 by the time he comes back, you know, that still leaves 11 games left, and a lot can happen in 11 games. I personally don't think that would be a hole that they'd be able to dig out of, given the strength of the division alone, let alone the rest of the conference. But
correct.
How much is Patrick Mahomes being in the organization's ear saying, hey, man, look, I'm ready, especially if the team starts off really, really bad, as you and I both probably anticipate?
Yeah, if they start off that bad, then again, I wouldn't rush him back. I would take my time. He can say what he wants. I'm ready to
Hmm.
go. I want to play. He's a football player. He loves it. But on the other hand, he is your franchise, and you expect him to be around for another, I don't know, 7, 8 years at minimum. I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time already, 3 Super Bowls. So, no, Patrick Mahomes, take your time, sit, wait. That's why they brought in Fields. That's why they have Gardner Minshew. Take your time, get yourself ready, get back to 100%, not 75%, not 80%,
Hmm.
not 60%, 100%.
Let me ask you one more Kansas City question. How long does Andy Reid have left?
Probably 2 to 3 years, I would
That,
say.
yeah,
Two to
that's
three years.
that's kind of what I'll say. That's kind of like the consensus. I don't, especially this year is it's going to kind of suck because it was a wasted year on top of the bad season that you just had. So I think he'll want to at least go into 27 kind of redeeming himself a little bit, and then 28 the questions will start at being is this the end for Andy Reid? So yeah, good stuff
Yeah, if
there.
he could pull off one more Super Bowl, then he'll ride off into the sunset. No doubt about it. He'll steal a Denver Bronco and ride off in that.
Yeah. So, and last one, real quick. Actually, two more, real quick. The Max Crosby. So now, do you think is it a big deal or no deal for Joe Burrow that Max Crosby isn't in your division, but now you're going to be facing one of your friends, so to speak, twice a year in Trey Hendrickson?
Yeah, that's definitely a big deal. Trey Hendrickson, he's got a chip on his shoulder, man. He does not like the Cincinnati Bengals, man. He
That
wanted
does
out of
not
there.
bode well.
Yeah, that's a problem, man. And he's a hell of a pass rusher. He's still got it in, no doubt about it. He's not an old man. I think he's what, 31 or
Hmm.
30, something like that. And yeah, he's coming after Joe Burrow. So Joe Burrow better watch the hell out. No doubt about it. He has got a chip on his shoulder. He is mad at the organization,
Yeah.
hates what happened over there. They did him wrong. And now he's going in that division where he's going to play them
Mm-mm-mm.
twice a year. Yeah, he's going to do some damage.
But almost, if you're Joe Burrow, you almost wished that the Ravens kept Max Crosby because there's not like that grudge there,
Yeah,
outside
right.
of him just being an edge wanting to get to the quarterback. But yeah, everything you said, man, is 100% on point. I feel bad for Joe. It's time for him to get out of Cincinnati. It
Oh
really is.
yeah, yeah,
That's a
no
different
doubt.
topic for a different show. And last one. We've been talking about like NFL expansion. Um, would it be in your mind, and this is more of a question as opposed to big deal or no deal, if you were the NFL commissioner and you were going to expand the United States, let's take the European thing out of the equation for a minute, or Mexico or anywhere like that. Two cities. PA is talking about potentially Seattle and Vegas. What two cities in your mind would you think would be deserving of an NFL franchise? Where would you drop two NFL franchises right today if they said, "Hey, we're going to expand"?
Nowhere, because expansion is stupid. It's dumb.
Okay.
Expansion is dumb. It is the worst thing. You're just thinning out the field, and that's what they're going to do in the NBA with Seattle and Vegas. Thin out the field, less good players. You got about 30 to 33 players that really probably don't belong in the NBA. It's going to be worse. Same thing with football. If you contract, bad problem. But to answer your question, I think a team in St. Louis would make sense.
Hmm.
They've, I mean, they've had teams there before, so I think St. Louis would make sense. And another state or another city that I think would do really well. Um, you know what? I would go to Utah.
Really?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
I
not
go.
what I was expecting. I don't think the chat or the viewers were expecting that.
Yeah,
Utah.
I'm going to
Hmm.
Utah. St. Louis in Utah. Utah is becoming more. They got a hockey team
So
now.
Salt Lake City. The
There's
Salt Lake City, I wouldn't even know what to call them.
Savages. I don't know.
Wow, that was it. I was thinking, considering the fact that there's no professional team in the state of Alabama, outside of the
Oh, okay.
XFL, USFL team, or whatever they're called. Somewhere, in the Birmingham
Yeah,
metropolitan area.
Birmingham. Yeah.
They love their football down there. The problem is that do you take away because they love their college football? They love their Crimson Tide down there. Does that take
Oh,
away from the NFL potentially on Sundays? Because basically you're directly competing with college football. And I don't think even the mighty NFL can compete with the rabid fan base that's down there in Tuscaloosa. But
you
the
would have
Utah,
the laziest people in Alabama. They wouldn't get off their couch on Saturday or Sunday. I mean, they would just sit there and eat and get fat. That's all that would happen. It would be a bad freaking problem right there. But Alabama, pretty good one. Pretty good one.
That Utah, that's something to think about. Maybe not. I don't know. Put another team in New York. What the hell? Go for it.
Yeah, right. Why not four? Yeah.
Rhode Island or Delaware, somewhere like that. But yeah, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was Big Deal, No Deal, brought to you by the Power 32 podcast. Good stuff as always, Prophet.
No doubt. St. Louis, I think they deserve a team, man. I think,
and they've proven that they're a rabid fan base if the team's good. When the Rams were there with Kurt Warner and them guys, and they were rolling, them people came out to watch some football. So
they sure did, man.
That's a good.
You know it. All right. Well, we had a few teams that have now got two first-round draft picks. Miami just went in there. Who else? The Jets. The Raiders. Do the Raiders have two? I'm trying to think right now.
No, they just had. They would have had two, but the Max.
They would have took right. LA would have had two, but they gave up one. My 49ers, they draft 27th. I don't know. What are you thinking about your Detroit Lions? What position you want to address?
Oh man, I don't. You know what? If I'm the Detroit Lions, I'm looking at it like there's so many holes to fill on defense. There's just so many holes to fill on defense. You got to go edge rusher. You got to take the best edge rusher available if you're the Detroit Lions, and I don't even think there's a close second. The problem is by the time you get to your pick, Akeem Mesidor will probably already be gone. Kendrick Falk will probably already be gone. Ruben Bain's probably going to go top 5, top.
Oh, yeah.
Zion Young is an interesting one out of Missouri. Derek Moore, the Michigan Wolverine. So there's some, Cassius Howell, who is David Bailey's tag team partner at Texas A&M, pretty good as well. There's some guys out there, and much like last year, this is a pretty deep draft for defensive ends. So the Lions, I would actually double up. I'd pick one in the first round, and I'd probably take one again like in the 4th or 5th round. But to me, Prophet, to answer your question, they got to go defense. And you're almost at a point because Terrion Arnold's coming off injury. Brian Branch still, when he comes back. Kirby Joseph, you don't know when he's going to come back. So 3/4 of your starting secondary for the Lions are question marks right now. So you almost go edge rusher first round, cornerback in the second round, and maybe go back to edge rusher again in the in the third round.
That's why I was thinking maybe Jermod McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee for Detroit. I thought that maybe he would be a good fit, but I do understand the need for another pass rusher. Get somebody on the side, Aiden Hutchinson, and for the 49ers, I'm thinking the same thing. Get an edge rusher. Mm-hmm. Best thing to do, best available. Maybe it's Cassius Howard, T.J. Parker, maybe around. Keldrick Falk. I'm looking at a couple of these names over here. Akeem Mesidor. So there's still, like you said, there's a lot of edge players in this draft, man.
If in a perfect world, Mesidor would still be there by the time the Lions pick. But I think what happens is kind of like what was happening with Georgia there for a minute. You get these those are the two best edge rushers in the ACC, number one, and two of probably the top 20 edge rushers, top 15 edge rushers in the country. So they'll probably go earlier than anticipated. Ruben Bain is probably going to be a top 5, top 6 pick. But Mesidor might be there in the late teens, early 20s. So the Lions, if they really want him, the Lions are probably going to have to move up to get him because I don't think he'll be there. I think, what did the Lions pick? 26?
No, I think they're
No, they're a little
17.
they're higher than that. They're 17th or 18th. Yeah, so he might be there, but I probably wouldn't take a chance. If I really want him, I'm going to move up to get him because I think he's better than Kendrick Falk slightly. But David Bailey's clearly the cream of the crop for the defensive ends, edge rushers, whatever you want to call them. Then Ruben Bain, and then Messador is probably right there. TJ Parker is going to be a value pick, whoever gets him, because he's probably going to go late first round, early second. But yeah, the Lions need to do something defensive. Whatever they do, it has to be on defense. And you got to get you an offensive lineman or two here because those couple guys you signed recently, yeah, they're nothing to write home about. At all.
And you would know, my friend, no doubt. All right, so we got a little college football in there. We did our big deal, no deal, free agency, trades, what's going to happen. We got plenty of time. We got about a month and about a week or so until we got the draft. So we'll make our mock drafts. We're going to change it a million times, but we'll give it out. We'll have our little rules. You know, if you get head on, you get points. If you get the position right, you get points. And if you get the player right with the team, you get points. But we'll go over all that. We have a lot to do. It's going to be fun. Keep the season going. NFL on Power 32 Prime. Tell them, like us, subscribe. Let's go.
Like, subscribe, follow, tell a friend. If you don't have a friend, make a friend. Make sure that you tell each and every person that you know about the Power 32 podcast, the hour of power, kicking down your doors, attacking your speakers every Tuesday night, live here on YouTube with Prime and the Prophet. Like, follow, subscribe, follow us on social media. We're both on Twitter. And just, as you know, we're trying to build this channel and we can't do it without you. So make sure you tell a friend, make a friend, let everybody know that you are a participant in the hour plus of power each and every week here on YouTube.
That's right. We always go over a little bit, but today only a $1.01. Not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, we hit it.
We're learning.
We're learning. We're learning.
We're getting good at this.
Still more NFL news to come. It will come. We'll be back next Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern to talk about it. Until then, everybody, we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.